We're live.
Can you hear me now? All right, so welcome to YouTube 101. No, that's not where we are. This is the Prof Sales channel, and we're going to talk about all kind of things, yeah? E-commerce, reselling, mindset, motivation, positivity, jumping in with both feet before you think about it first. We do that a lot.
That's
How's
true.
that?
That was pretty good. So welcome to the show, guys. Welcome to the channel. And as Kaaren said, we're here to talk to you about being in business for yourself. And today's show is going live. There's a live chat. You can always join us. We try to go on every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 2 o'clock Eastern Standard. And you can join us in the live chat. But if not, you can always leave us a question or a comment after the show post, and we'll do our best to respond or answer it if we can. So welcome to the consignment business.
Hello!
Yeah.
And welcome to our next greatest adventure.
So let's see. There's been a lot of things that have happened in the last 48 hours and lots of things we could discuss.
Lots of rain.
Oh.
Lots of driving.
Lots of driving. Lots of inventory. Lots of humidity. Not a fan of that. And a bunch of different things that have...
A bunch of dumb sometimes.
So for those of you who don't know and are new to this channel, we recently got the use of a warehouse. We're going to be able to set up our eBay business in this warehouse. And we've been doing that that's been evolving to what that's going to look like. And we're going to talk about that. But one of the questions you always have with a warehouse is, what are the environmental conditions? So this is it seems like a minor thing. So it's been raining here in Charlotte for the past probably 2 days?
A month.
2 months. It's just been crazy. And so we were concerned about in a warehouse, what's the humidity like? Because if you're storing something, there's a lot of humidity, you can have mold and so on. And we've been doing really well with humidity. Mm-hmm. But I have a little monitor here that I've been monitoring the humidity with as we've been going. And we haven't been in this warehouse in probably, not a week, maybe a week?
A week.
Probably a week. So when we came in today, you can see here, I'm going to try to show you.
That's good.
That number over there, the 70, that is the high humidity we hit inside here. And right now it's 58, which is still a little bit high, not crazy. You really want to be around 55. So we're a little concerned that the humidity got that high in here over the past 24 hours. But it has been very, very rainy for sure. Not normal conditions.
Right. And when we unloaded what we're going to talk about behind us, we had to open the bay door, and it's been a consistent misting all morning.
Yeah.
And what's the rate? Like Charlotte's humidity?
It's like 92%.
Yeah. So we're existing in a 92% humidified bubble as it is. So I'm sure that had an effect. And this little thingy is, it's hard to decide in the moment how bad it is, because it'll show a high to low, but the high was probably that moment that we opened the garage up and all that came in here. So
it could, and that could be, because like you said, we didn't look at it when we first came in the building. So we're not sure how it had been trending, but it's probably higher because it's been so rainy. So, I don't know. Is that going to be an ongoing issue? Maybe. Are we going to walk in here one day and there's going to be mold everywhere? Who knows? But that being said, that's just another one of those hurdles you have to overcome. You have to overcome that hurdle even if you're if you have your items in a garage at your house, you may run into that. You may get humidity and mold.
Right, and everybody's already asking questions about, it's kind of an interesting show and tell.
They're like, screw the mold. We want to hear about that.
I know, right? Tell us about the shoes.
There's some other things too, not just shoes.
And I have to start with, I kind of woke up this morning with the idea that when one door closes, another always opens, right? So while we are literally evolving into whatever this space will be and mean to us, we're making changes, like sometimes on the fly, sometimes, we give way too much thought to it. But, we started out talking about our idea, and that's what's cool about it, because it's very flexible, right? It's our plans, what we can, and I like that. I like that we're able to just sort of roll with it and whatever comes our way. And we keep hinting at it behind us, but something kind of cool has come our way. And you already said the C word. You said consignment.
That's in the title.
Oh, did you put it in the title? I thought you grabbed some like wonky, like, what is it? Bait, what's it called?
Clickbait?
Clickbaity title.
It's not a very
or something?
clickbaity title, I don't think.
But yeah, so are we gonna still like keep like talking about like the weather, or are we gonna just jump right in?
We'll jump right in. I mean,
Obviously there's a bunch of shoes behind us, a bunch of very new, probably recognizable branding of shoes behind us, right?
Yes. So we let's see how to tell this story, because we've talked about it for the past couple weeks. It's not really a long story, but it's just a story.
Here, get comfortable. This might take a while.
Yeah, I'm going to listen too. Oh, wait, I'm the one talking. But anyway, so a couple weeks ago, I was talking with a friend of mine about things to help out sellers with, because, and the way the conversation started was, hey, we now have the space, and we started thinking about, well, how can we utilize it fully, not just for what we're selling, but also just, fully utilize it, to be able to monetize it to the best of our ability, but also use the skills and strengths that we have to do that. Obviously we wouldn't want to set up some sort of business in here that we know nothing about, because it would just be such a learning curve. And I immediately thought of Amazon. And the reason I thought of Amazon was because Amazon has its own set of challenges. It has its own set of advantages as well. But we knew some people who came through here, who came through Charlotte. I call them they're like roving wanderers. Like these,
I was going to call them warriors.
Warriors, yeah. They're like road warriors of Amazon. And they just drive around from city to city. They pick up the bolos. They pick up a few different items at a few different stores and buy as much of them as they can and then ship them into Amazon. And we thought, wouldn't it be cool if we could figure out a way to help those people, to provide a service, some value when they're here in Charlotte, and it would help us monetize the space, and it would be a win-win for both. Because one of the challenges when you're an Amazon seller like that is when you're on the road, yes, you can pack and ship from your hotel room, but it's a pain in the butt. You've got to bring boxes unless you buy boxes. You got to bring a printer unless you wouldn't buy a printer. You got to bring your labels. You've got to transport all your items to your room.
Yeah. Box
them all up, label them all up, package them, then take them to the UPS store or wherever you're shipping from. I believe it's UPS, usually for FBA. And you spend like a day sometimes doing that.
Right. And if you've got, if you're on the big tour, as a couple of our friends, that's the way they do it. Like they are like.
People go all around. Yeah.
Yeah. They're like retail arbitrage Amazonian warrior, like princess and princess. Like it's unbelievable what they do. But you're absolutely right. You're spending, if you were planning on coming into Charlotte for a day or two, and sometimes arguably you need more time than that, depending upon what stores you're going to, you're spending half of your time processing the things that you acquired, right?
Right. And I think that the other thing is
what would make more sense?
What?
Go on, keep talking.
Oh, well, I think the other thing is too, it's the time that you're spending in that city is another, a lot of times, days hotel expense. Which if you're doing this every week and say you're in a different hotel every 3 days, that's 10 extra days a month that you're spending in hotels, packing and shipping, doing something that's not really earning you any extra money, but it has to be done. So initially we thought we could help people as they came through Charlotte. We could offer a drop-off service where they could drop off their items. We could log into their Amazon account, because Amazon allows you to have, restricted access to your account, so you can have other people log in. We could log in, we could print their labels, we could package up their items, we could ship them to Amazon for them, which would allow them to get on the road like a day earlier in a lot of cases. So they literally could come through, and they could even drop off things they bought in other cities too. If they knew they were coming to Charlotte, they could drop off items here with us and say, hey, I picked up these items while I was in, Raleigh or Greenville or wherever, and I'd like you guys to ship them for you. And we thought that would be a cool model. And it is a cool model. And it does work. But we started talking to another friend of ours who's a pretty large Amazon seller. And I just started throwing some ideas at him around that topic. And he said, you know, that's great. And there's people who do that. There are fulfillment centers, ship and prepping centers out there. This business already exists. And if you have the space and capacity to do it, it's a great business. Nothing wrong with it. But he suggested that we maybe have a better niche. Mm-hmm. There might be a better niche for you. And I said, oh, well, what's that? What else is work? He said, returns. And I said, well, what do you mean? He said, well, on Amazon, when you return something to Amazon for an FBA seller, usually Amazon will make a determination about whether or not the item can be resold. Mm-hmm. Amazon decides that, and they'll resell it for you. They'll get it back in their warehouse system and ready to go. But some percentage of those returns, they decide are not resellable, or you'll have shipped back to you because you sold all of them you think you're going to sell during that period, and the sales velocity went way down. So you decided, I really don't want to keep storing these in Amazon's warehouses because it's expensive. You know, you're paying storage fees to store them there, and they might not sell again until maybe like fourth quarter next year. So you're going to pay these fees all year long. And returns, and then sometimes there's returns where people just wear things, they use things, they break, they whatever. They get sent back, Amazon accepts a return, and then you have to accept it. But you've already put the time and money into the item on the front end. If you're a seller on Amazon, you've already prepped it, you've already bought it, you've already labeled it, shipped it, packed it, whatever. So when it comes back to you, you're having to do all that again. And now you can't sell it sometimes as new because it's been worn, it's been used. And it creates a quandary. And it's really not your business. Like, you really don't want to be dealing with these one-offs. So he suggested that we just accept returns and process these returns and sell them basically on consignment. Basically a consignment deal. And what you see behind you are, and there's some more over here to the side you can't see, and some more right here to this side you can't see either. We'll try to show you here what you see over there on the table, as well as what you see right there on those shelves and the floor. Let's see if I can get the picture straight here again. No. What you see are one seller's part of returns. So these are items that they got back from Amazon that we are going to resell for them in some form or fashion. Now, a lot of these returns, as you can see, are shoes. And Kaaren and I have been going through these shoes this morning. We've gone through about 40. Yeah, we've been arguing about it too. Like, I think we should do it this way. No, this way is clearly better. Well, you're stupid for thinking that. We didn't say that.
We didn't say that.
But that's what we were thinking, probably. Like, I can't believe he does that. But we've been going through them and processing them and just initially checking them in to see what they sell for on eBay, what condition they're in. Are they going to be sellable on eBay? Mm-hmm. We've got a little stack already that's not. We're going to have to do something different with it. Just not really worth it. Maybe sell them locally. We may even donate them. But fortunately, we have been able to find, we've gone through, I'll tell you what we've gone through.
60.
I don't think we've gone through 60 of them. I'll just give you guys an idea. We've
50.
gone through 47 items, because there's two that aren't up here. Mm-hmm. The first 47 items we've gone through looks like to be about $3,000 of value from what we see sold at, and so on, and conditions and so on. A couple of those items, about 10 of them, we're going to have to sell locally or something like that, which will be fine. But the rest of them are going to be up there. So we haven't even gone through
the majority. It's about 175 total pair of shoes.
Right, and we've gone through
47.
47. There's also a couple other items I want to show you guys. Should we play show and tell?
Really? What do you want to show them?
the phones.
Oh yeah, the phones would be okay.
Yeah.
We can't show the bobble thing.
Probably not. So we have actually gone in and already found thousands of dollars of value. Now, consignment is not a business we have done before. But the person that we're working with, we think there's others out there like that. They just don't want to fool with them. They don't. And they made the decision that, like, look, if this works out, we will have Amazon ship you our returns, and we'll be able to process, kind of all of it. And there's some other things that go into it. It's not just that. But we're kind of excited about this opportunity, guys, because we didn't have to, this particular trip we did, but for the most part, we will not have to spend the time nor the capital to source these items, right? That's consignment in a nutshell. We also are going to be able to make decisions for our people that are our consigners, that on how we sell the item and at what thresholds we can sell. Excuse me. It's very dusty in here today for some reason. I just got like a serious dust bomb.
It's all that mold that's growing, that insidious, invisible mold that's growing. So the idea is with Amazon sellers, and even with you in our eBay business, when you get a return, you've already spent time, energy, arguably funds on processing, listing, shipping that item, right?
Right.
Now imagine your own eBay store, but on steroids, right? So it's going to be a lot bigger. And typically the Amazon reseller that sells in volume, quantities, etc., sets aside these items. When they come back, the thought is that they're pretty much going to be a loss, right?
Right.
Maybe they'll get around to them, but it doesn't make sense to stop the forward momentum that they have on items that are selling and selling well in this moment to go backwards and process those returns, because they've already put that initial time and effort. They've paid an employee to do it. So this is the type of thing that could turn that loss into profit, or at least not profit necessarily, but instead of being a negative, it's some sort of income coming in on that item.
Even if they just get their money back,
right?
Even if they broke even on the cost of goods, that's a win, because now they can reinvest that. And like Kaaren said, it's not worth their time to deal with a lot of one-offs when you're doing Amazon FBA, where you want to deal in multiple quantities. I mean, that's the model. You want to deal with 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, even more. So we think that this model will work really well. And I think that, the first challenges are like figuring out how to deal with the inventory as it comes in. So the first step we took, and some people were asked about them, we'll answer those questions. It's just, what do you got? So we literally have been sitting here this morning, once we kind of figured out how we want to go with it, and said, all right, let's start looking through these items. We'll research the sold prices. We'll create like an initial listing, not a listing, but like a spreadsheet entry, whole separate spreadsheet, not even using the exact same one I use, because it's not really set up for this exactly. And we'll just start, inventorying what we have, because we need to be able to tell our consignor, here's the items we got from you. Here's what we think the value is worth, given our research. Here's what we're going to have to come up with other solutions. Here's what's just too damaged, and so on. I'm sorry when you say that.
No, I mean, I love all the questions, because I can see how everybody's brain's working on here. Like, are you going to do this? Well, you shouldn't do this. And the one, of course, I go to the one that gets my attention. But Reseller Rockefeller says consignment's a rough way to go in his opinion, or their opinion, because it's hard to handle the returns and it's hard to make it work with lower profit margins on items.
Right, but you're forgetting something about Amazon, and because that's exactly what I would have thought.
Mm-hmm. However,
but what you're forgetting about Amazon is a lot of Amazon sellers are buying in quantity, right? So especially if they're FBA sellers, we're not talking about the people who are buying the one-offs, pre-owned item that maybe is more like an eBay type item. They're going and they're saying, I want to buy, 50 of these little monitors. Oh, well, I bought 50 and 20 of them didn't sell. Well, the difference is when an Amazon seller wants to consign their items to us, they're going to give me 20 of these and I'm going to make one listing. Mm-hmm. I don't have to make 20 listings. I got to make one, with a quantity of 20. And every time they sell, I just keep selling off of that listing. I don't have, now these are a little different, but even here we found, I'm going to show something. You got to play some show and tell here. What was our Reese? Yeah. So this one, like this shoe.
Yeah.
Here's a great, for instance, guys. So this shoe.
And lucky they're not in my size.
I know, right? You want to show it?
So it's Vask. It's a Red Wing company.
Yeah. JC, you can see what it is. Oh, sorry.
So it's a woman's hiker, right?
Right. And so there's 3 of these that we just, was it 3 or 4?
3.
I gotta look.
Was this the one that was 100 or 1?
This was the one, Breeze 3 GTX.
Yeah, that was 150.
There's 4 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this particular shoe should sell for around $150 because it's brand new. There's nothing wrong with it. This shoe came back just because it was a return or else just unsold inventory. And there's nothing wrong with it. So that one item, you know, there's 4 of those, for instance. So that's a unity count of 4. You know, you can obviously put in the sizes. And, you know, $600 worth of gross sales. That's what's different with an Amazon consignment business because you're not dealing with so many one-offs. And we have several others like that here. We just started scratching the surface. There's one up there which one? That's the North Face. Those 5 are all the same. These
the Justin boots were the same.
The Red Wings up there. There's I think 4 or 5 of the one.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of the Wolverines. The Vask are like 4 and 3 and 3, I think, something like that. So put this back before Kaaren gets on me for. So that's what's different from a normal consignment business where you have so many one-offs and you're spending so much time dealing with every single item that comes in. And you can imagine if you were dealing in a normal consignment like with antiques or collectibles, I mean, you have to look up all those. So I think that in this particular example or model, I think there's a lot more scalability just because you're going to get so many quantities, but we'll see.
There was a follow-up question to that too. And I think that has to do with how we talked about how and when we pay out. As far as, you know, what happens if you do that and then somewhere down the road you receive a return. Well, we're not going to receive a return 6 months later.
True. But we could, that's a great question. And, you know, I haven't really thought about it too much, but I guess I would argue I could still count it as a return against that person's account. And we're going to have a rolling account with these sellers. And so we would just take it off of their next month's payout.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then try to sell it again if it's in good condition.
Because we're only talking about a 30-day window technically anyway.
Well, 60, yeah. But yeah.
If we sell it on eBay.
It's 60.
Well, I don't want to give them 60 days. I only want to give them 30 days.
60's better. Trust me.
I know.
Because they're less likely to do it. So, you know, it's one of these situations, guys, where we started with the premise that we were going to go in one direction and it kind of evolved a little bit into something totally different. But because we had some contacts, some networking, honestly, the person I'm talking about was a seller I met through the Green Room, and they sell way more than probably anybody in this chat. And I'm not trying to make a comparison game, but I mean, they're a bigger seller, like 7-figure seller. So I knew that like when they said, hey, have you considered this? I'm like, you know, I'm going to listen because that person has achieved a level of competency. They've achieved a level of, achievement in this reselling game where they can recognize some of the pain points. And if I can be a solution to one of those, I can create a great niche business here that could be, quite profitable. We don't know everything there is to know about consignment. It's not a complicated business.
No. And we'd address this, Rockefeller, in the terms, you know, we're not gonna store for lack of better, store it here for longer than a certain period of time, right?
Right.
We also have a threshold for price. We're not going to sell
Right.
an item for $1 either. Like we'll have minimums.
Yeah. And we're still kind of finalizing what our percentages will look like, because that's and honestly, I'm not sure I want to share that anyway. I'm not trying to be coy about it, but the reality is it's kind of like what we've come up with. And, I want to, sort of protect that sort of way that we're doing it for the moment, just to see if it works or not, because we may have to change it.
Well, and
we've already talked about that.
It's also individual terms of a contract we have with someone. So I don't know if they want it.
Right. They may not want to disclose either, but in any case, we just don't want to go too much detail there. But we think that kind of given the thresholds, like you were mentioning, and the percentages that we're looking at, it should make sense for us. We should be able, especially when you start talking about multi-quantity listings. Like, think about if you did this on eBay, guys. This is nothing new. If you sell a bottle of water and only make 10 cents on it, that's not really worth it. But if you can sell 10,000 of them, maybe that's worth it. So, again, because you can do a quantity listing and you can repeat it, you're going to know how many you're going to sell, so you can figure out how many to kind of source and get in, and then it just becomes just a repeatable business. And any business that you can repeat a successful transaction over and over and over, you can really grow it and become very, very successful.
Right. And to answer Mandy's question, right now, Mandy, it's just 2 bulls in a china shop, to be clear. Only the 2 of us processing all of it right now.
Well, somebody asked about the inventory again. I'm sorry, go ahead. You weren't finished.
No, I guess I'm finished.
Well, somebody asked about how we were labeling it. Did we answer that?
No. Why don't you go ahead and jump right on?
I thought you were gonna...
Squirrels.
Well, I'll tell you. So we started. All right. I'm going to share with you how poor my handwriting is. I don't know how much you guys can see that and read that.
Just use your words.
I am terrible. But so this is what.
I cannot believe you just said that.
That's how my brain works. Believe it or not, this is supposed to be a flow chart, like a chart showing how things flow through the process. So what we thought about was an item comes in the back door from a consignor. What do we do with it? Like literally, and you guys know from this channel, we've mapped out the steps to this business before. But yeah, somebody said, how do you read that? I can't even read it now, and I wrote it. That's what's amazing. But the product comes in, and you've got to start walking it through a process. And along the way, it sort of gets divvied out into different buckets. And a bucket is not a bucket is like a figurative term. It's not literal. But so the first thing we thought is, and that's what we're doing today, we're going to assign it a title, like maybe not the listing title. We're going to assign the product a title. We're going to give it a customer ID. We're going to tag it to whoever's product it is. That's important, right? We got to keep track of that. The date we got it, the quantity, and then a status. That's it. And the status just revolves around a few different things. It revolves around, wish I had that.
Yeah, I mean, we need to know where it is, because and it's funny because Mandy said, oh my, when we said we do it all.
Right.
But we're kind of, I don't mean this the way it's going to come out, but if you've been around this channel and Prof in particular for a while, you know that we tend to overthink things, especially in the beginning, on purpose.
Right.
And we sometimes butt heads with that on occasion. But we're kind of thinking outside of just the moment. Like we're trying to look at it down the line. What does it look like when it's, 1,000 items instead of 200 items? What does it look like when it's maybe more than one person or consignor that we're dealing with at the same time? We're trying to, and we can't figure out, we certainly can't figure out everything that'll go wrong in advance. But we're spending some time, and it's driving us a little crazy today, but we mapped out an entire process, what it would look like if we handed over certain parts of the batching of our eBay business to an employee. And we got very detailed. We had a form, you could, and the whole purpose of that was to be able to track where we were in the listing process for any given item, any given bucket of items,
right?
So that we could, we could track productivity on our end that way. So we're trying to put that mindset into this and make it work in a way. Because for me, for example, when we came in this morning, I was dead set, heck bent on my number one priority being, we've got to check this stuff in. I'm not comfortable especially when it's not my stuff, having somebody's thingies and not knowing all the thingies that we have. So my mission critical was checking it in. How are we going to do that in the quickest, most accurate, most effective manner?
Right.
And that's how this doctor list evolved. Because then Jason said, well, blah, blah, blah.
What does
blah.
checking in look like?
Yeah, what does it look like? And then even on the way over here, I said, well, Prof, there are going to be some things either we can't sell. There's going to be some things that are going to need to be photographed.
Right.
There's going to be some things that need to be processed differently, or they're going to need more prep work or more attention. So then what do we do with that? So that's why the intake then, it's not enough just to check it off of a list, because right now we've got things that are going in, they're going to go here. Like a brand new item that has nothing wrong with it, we can use a stock photo for. There's nothing more we need to do with it. We can list it, boom, right out of it. But then if, it's one of these returns where, they returned it and they wore it for a month, that's going to take some additional attention.
That's correct.
And then there's going to be other things that just aren't going to go, whether it's because they don't meet the cost threshold, they're too low, or they're just too beat up.
Yeah. And I mean, if you think about it, we all do this process of flowing items through our system, whatever your system is, whether you've written it down or have it formalized or not. You do it. You do. Like you go and you decide to buy something, maybe you look it up, and you come home, you check it out, make sure it's okay. You take a photograph, you list it, you store it, you pack it, you ship it. I mean, that's just the way this game works. And this is no different. We just need to figure out how to do it with somebody else's stuff, which is still just stuff. We just assign it a few extra identifiers, and it's good to go. Some other questions we had in here. So there was one. What will your no, that wasn't the one. What will your split be after fees and shipping? How much you're charging to provide your services? So traditionally, fees for consignment are paid. I mean, fees we don't get, and neither does the consigner. So those fees are deducted from the price of the transaction, and then you start a split on the quote unquote profit after that, because the fees go to eBay or Amazon or Poshmark or wherever you're selling. So that nobody really gets that. Nobody gets the benefit. Nobody gets any benefit from that. So those fees are paid by, those are just subtracted from the price. Use a stock photo and state this is what it's supposed to look like.
I love that, Connie. That's good.
That's pretty funny.
And Joe, did you come to the party late? We're not talking about consigning for individuals. We're talking about consigning for higher volume other resellers. So I don't
Scroll
think,
back.
especially in this particular case, there is no way this person is going to be calling us on the daily to see if the items have sold. No, trust me, they've got bigger stuff than this going on.
Yeah, like this was just a nuisance of items for them, and they just needed to do something with them. But yeah, having a process to work through all this is important, because as Kaaren said, as this grows and evolves, and you're not dealing with just 200 or 300 items, and you're dealing with 2,000 or 3,000 potentially, you got to have a system, or it will overwhelm you. And we're looking at some ways to expand it beyond even what just this is. Like there's some more to it you can do in terms of handling returns and so on, because the returns are a real issue. But I would say that, returns and doing this type of business for other people is probably not for most people. and I already see that from our tiny moment in the sun here, even doing this, because you've got to have an approach to this. It's methodical, that is detail oriented, that allows you to focus on the big picture, that you're always figuring out ways to improve, how to, to get more quantity of certain listings and less one-offs. obviously the price is important. I mean, you can't go consign a bunch of $7 items for people. I mean, that just mathematically doesn't make sense because your time you put into that item, you're not going to get it back out. So you have to have sort of this certain mindset. And I don't know that we have it 100% yet. I recognize what it is, but we still got to go do it and execute it. But I think it's going to be fun. So I'm going to show the phones.
Okay. Well, and it's interesting to me that, we're getting a mix of questions from new folks that are new to the channel and then folks that have been around for a while. And I love all these questions about how we can best spend our time and do we think that that's the best way? And I guess we should have said that we're still going to do the other things that we do. We're still going to, have our eBay stores. We're still going to, the plan is to still scale the jeans up to, what's the number on the jeans? 2,000 pair of jeans, 500 pair of shoes, I think. And they're in that box. They're all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
So our idea is to still do that. And we have all the things that we pulled from Ben and my things from before that we're still going to list. And this is just something else we're going to do. And how cool will it be when we figure this out and then we're able to put somebody, hire an employee and just put them in charge of this once we get all of that in place. What are you doing?
I'm looking at what the item number was on it. I can't remember.
And we always joke we'll be the guinea pigs for everybody here, and we'll give it a try. Why not?
Yeah. So one of the things that our recent contact gave us was he had gotten this phone system that he had never really done anything with, and it's you're gonna break it. Well, I got it. I just had to put it back. So it was a Cisco phone system, and it was basically for like an office that I guess would need to give phones to salespeople or a bunch of people who would all need to kind of stay in contact. But it has a charging base and a system, and there's just these little Cisco phones that didn't really look like much. And he said, "Hey, I think there's good money in that system. If you want to take it and try to sell it, great." So I went and looked it up, and this little phone is like an older looking phone, but it's a Cisco C4 818. I hope I'm reading that right. It's really tiny numbers. But this little phone sells for $200. I couldn't believe it. And there's 9 of them in there. And there's a charging base. The charging base is not worth a whole lot. But the phones themselves are really expensive, probably because they quit making them. Mm-hmm. And there's probably these companies out there that have these little charging systems, It's like this one. This one says apparel 2499, taped on the top. So somebody must have been their apparel buyer, seller, whatever. Yeah. And
this was a retail store is where these came
retail
from.
Store. Oh, I didn't hear that part of it.
Yeah.
So people were like, holy, I know, I couldn't believe it either. I had to look it up 3 or 4 times, and they tend to sell them in batches. I sold a lot. I saw a lot of them went 6 of them for $1,500 or $1,400. It was crazy. Mm-hmm. But that was just hanging out there, and he just didn't have time to list it, which is amazing when you think about it. It's you got this $1,500, $2,000 phone system sitting there. You don't have time to list it. But, we made room for that to come back. I was a bunch of $200 phones that weigh 6 ounces, we could ship them. Yeah, I think we'll do that. But so, when you network with certain people and you make these connections out in the reseller world, you'll start finding that, they'll have this knowledge or this experiences with things that you don't even realize. And, that was just he had mentioned, I think, before we even went up there, but I was oh, whatever, a phone system. I'm eh. But, the stuff is out there, guys, you have to be able to keep your mind open to it. And I don't normally list phones. But obviously at $200 a pop, I will definitely do that. Anyway.
And we were there and they needed the space, so we moved them.
Yeah, it was a big box of stuff. And I'm all right, fine. If you twist my arm.
You're so silly.
What else do you want to show? Do you want to do any other show and tell? Anything you've seen?
Well,
that
I
you
mean,
really like?
all the shoes are really cool. I mean, we got brand new cowgirl boots. We haven't even touched the Nikes or the Merrells.
I know she hasn't even gotten to those.
Yeah, I haven't even gone to the Merrells. Those are going to be my favorite. But the ones that I showed on the show last week that I was all braggy about getting a new pair, and all that was wrong with them was that little toe thing going on. Well, let me tell you, in all the rain and on this latest trip, those shoes completely fell apart. The bottom came off of them, so they are now in the trash can. I'm not even interested in gluing that bottom back onto the shoe. I had to toss them because I was walking literally like dragging my foot because the bottom of the shoe.
I was trying to remember what this little thing sold for. Let's see.
You know, we should probably do this before we go.
Yeah,
on
we're
the show.
completely unprepared. I just want to say that for the record.
Well, that's because we've been working.
So we also picked up 5 of these. The Nabby Dream Tab, HD8, new in the box. Not a thing wrong with them. 5 of them. The highest one sold for $199, but I don't think these will sell for quite that much. I think they're going to sell more for like $140 plus free shipping. Shipping will be a little expensive, so maybe $120 after shipping. So again, one listing, quantity 5. Somebody buys one, out the door it goes. See, I love show and tell. You say I always never like it.
You're such a little kid.
How much did this guy sell for?
Oh my gosh.
Cool little robot. Cosmo.
That was my face. And that's
I can't remember.
Doesn't even count. Like
this guy, it's like a little robot. Wait, is that? Yeah, that's right. So Cosmos. Anybody ever sold this thing before? I don't know. I think it's over $100 though, so that was pretty cool. I'm just showing the stuff that people want to see. No,
Ninja's like being an auctioneer here. Do we have a two? Do I hear 201?
Yeah,
like
we
the Price
know
is
what
Right.
Some of the other shoes were. Oh, you had these.
What? I said them out loud.
Did you show them?
No, I didn't show them. It's on the top shelf. So I have everything nice and neat, and now we're gonna.
So the Justin boots. We're just showing the boots.
You are like a little kid, I
You
swear.
can see these. Yeah, these are nice.
Ooh.
I don't remember how much these were. How much did they go for?
I don't know.
Do you remember?
You're gonna look. No, I don't.
Oh gosh, these were like 70 a piece, and so I think we have 5 of them, which is cool. You know, easy sale, brand new. They smell amazing. Did you smell these? I mean, they're new boots, but like the new boot smell. It's amazing. Sorry, it's a weird day.
All right, so pew pew. We haven't had this happen before, but back to back, we got 2 super chats. Bum, bum, bum.
Nice.
Red Neckerson resales for $177 and Money Evolution for $2. Seriously though, thank you. That's awesome. We really appreciate it. And that's for me. I get giddy like a little girl every time that happens. Usually I would cry, but I'm just a little too tired from being on the road for the last 2 days to make any tears come out. But thank you very much.
I know. So
supporters of the channel are always appreciated.
But absolutely, we like that. We like that. You know, we've kind of got a little mixture of items too, and I think we're just scratching the surface with this business model. I think we have potential to go a lot higher. A lot of these shoes, guys. Have you not been surprised at how many of the shoes so far have been new?
Yeah.
I mean, they've been new. These are not like, oh, they wore them for a month or 2. I mean, there's been a couple of those, but I bet we've had probably half of them have been new by any definition of the word.
Yeah, so they don't require any additional work for us.
Can even use stock photos if one exists.
Right. And Ninja joked that the top shelf is like top shelf tequila or something. Kind of. No, all I did is I started, and I'm looking behind me at the top shelf. So it got into almost like a work boot flow and hike boot. So then I came straight across. And I think next we're going to do, what was going to happen next? Oh, the Vasks we did. So who comes next? What was the idea? So there's some Keens, there's some muck boots, and then we'll save.
Merrill. That's like 30 Merrill or 25 or so, right?
Merrill? We have Merrill? Did you say Merrill?
Yeah.
Wow. They make a nice shoe, don't they?
Yeah.
But yeah, so we've got a lot of those and a lot of Nikes, and I'm trying to sort them because we have so many that are multiples, and then we've started a pile of some one-offs, and there's all kind of cool like I don't know, Clark's, New Balance, Timberland, Ariat, just like where we have just like one pair of each or something.
Yeah.
But we're hoping to get through. We should be able to, are we going to stay and check in everything?
Yeah, just keep working.
That's the idea, right? Get it all checked in today, and
we've only done like the top shelf and just that one, right?
Yeah, we've only checked it. They already know we've checked in 47 of a possible ish 175,
and around $3,000 in value
at the moment. Yes.
Yeah, or was it 3,000, 35
ish? Yeah.
Any snake-proof boots? Yeah, they're boots that tell you not to go out where there are snakes.
So no, there's waterproof and there's electric proof. Or what was the
electric proof?
what was the terminology? Electricity free or something? Like it was something
weird like that.
But it meant that they're grounded so that it was instead of being a steel toe, it's an aluminum toe.
Right.
That was wicked cool. That was a nice looking boot too.
That would have been a nice thing to have back in my AT&T days.
Yeah,
true story. Power, it's like.
Well, and those aluminum boots are a little lighter. I mean, they're all still a little bit.
And the rubber sole helps protect you too.
Yes, this is true.
But you can get a crack in it. Sometimes there could be a thing.
That would not be good.
Yeah. So Sadie likes what he's heard so far, and I'm reading more after that. Sadie. No, I'm just kidding. I read the rest. Comes down to what percentage you're beginning. Over 60%. Yeah, we're actually not doing it quite that way. But I mentioned earlier during the day that we just didn't think that we were. We kind of looked at a different way to do it. Like we wanted to simplify it. So we came up with a little simpler model, and we found it, and hopefully it'll work.
Mm-hmm.
But we didn't, and we're not going to share kind of like the specifics. I don't know if you heard me say it earlier. You might not have been in the room, and the only reason we're not is because, first of all, we don't know that is going to be what we're going to keep. We don't know that it's going to stay exactly like that. And second of all, I'm not sure all of our consigners want us to share that. So, or in this case, just one consigner, but as we go. So I don't want to have a reputation for being, he kind of told everybody. I mean, I'll leave that up to them to share. And if they want to, that's up to them.
But we're not going to, I will say this, we're not going to do something that's not going to make us money when it comes to selling stuff, right?
Right.
I mean, is that okay to say?
Oh, that's absolutely
And it's really funny because, and some of the things that have come across kind of hint at this a little bit, but we had this same conversation with this friend of ours when we were on our trip this weekend, that it's really kind of funny how we as resellers sometimes balk at somebody else for asking for a better price or trying to negotiate, or what I mean?
Like a buyer's asking us for a low ball offer, or
the fact that we sell a spreadsheet that he's put 100 million hours into putting together. I mean,
that's a lot of hours.
Are we splitting hairs here? I mean, everybody in this chat wants to make money, right?
Right.
And so we're all doing it in different ways. We're selling on eBay. We're, you have your spreadsheet. We also do a lot of things where we don't charge money. But I mean, what? Like, I think I get a little like, really? Are we really gonna what does it matter? Everybody's in this to do something. We're not taking advantage or doing it in a way where we're sharing exactly what we do. Like we're not.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. And
I mean, did I explain that right? Because it comes up in conversation with resellers all the time.
Yeah.
Like we want to say especially with YouTube, we want to say, how can you tell people how to do that on YouTube? It's going to skew the sales, or it's going to do this or that. Don't do that. Except this is how I got my information. So it's okay for me to come to YouTube and watch the video, but nobody else.
It stops with me. Once I've learned it all, no one else should be able to learn.
Sorry, I mean, I didn't mean to go off on some kind of tangent there, but the whole point is, let's just be real here, people. Like, we're all here to get information. We're all here to share, and it's not really fair to judge someone or critique someone or criticize someone else just because they're doing exactly what you're doing, just in a different way.
Yep.
So if you want to ask for a better price, or you want to do it this way or that way or whatever, everybody, to each his own. Everybody's got their own way to do it.
We are not going to the reseller fam event in March. We already have another event planned to go to in June, as of right now, and it becomes a question of just time as well, and energy, just to.
Well, and money. Like, can y'all afford to go fly all over the country.
Yeah,
like
the event's
several
not.
times a
It's not
year?
the cost of the event that's the issue. It's just getting there.
Just getting there. Like you're
So,
talking a couple $1,000s.
Yeah, well, yeah, almost between hotel and
Mhm.
air, and it's kind of too far to drive from where we're at. I mean, it would be a long drive.
Right. And we would like to take a real vacation. I mean, no offense.
Not
But,
a reseller vacation.
but like really, like we do it 24/7 most of the time, especially because, we live in the same house and our business is transitioning into this warehouse, but it's primarily in our house. So we're exposed to this all the time. So I think we've got one good reseller event in us each year, both for time, energy, spirit, money, all that. And it just didn't. We had already made plans for the one in June.
Yeah.
Already. So.
Yeah, there was just no way to. Yeah, we have a couple other events, like you said, that were already scheduled.
Yeah, I mean, we have a meetup coming up, right?
Oh yeah, next month in March.
Yeah. Oh, and that's going to cost money because we're getting a hotel.
Yeah, getting a hotel.
Because it's
we'll
in
eat.
Durham.
We'll eat more expensively for sure. I mean, that just happens.
It's going to be so much fun. I can't wait for
that. We're not going to start spamming the local selling apps with all those shoes.
No.
We may flip.
That?
Yeah, we may flip a few of them locally that are like the lower end value ones, just because I don't know that it's really worth our time to list them. So we may try to sell some of those locally, but that's it.
Well, and Adam asked a good question. Any thoughts about once we get this going, will we become a processing center for Amazon FBA sellers?
Well, that's a great question, Adam. And I feel like by doing this, we kind of are already, in a sense. And Amazon has so much business around it that if you have some skill and some ability, some experience in the reselling game, consider taking advantage of it to coordinate with the Amazon community, because it's so large and it's a different business than eBay in a lot of ways. Not just the platform, but the approach to it is different too. So we think that, that will definitely be a potential ongoing relationship with that community. And, we have already some ideas for kind of where it will evolve and how it will go in the future if we kind of make this work.
Look, Thrifty Pick says, make a shipping center for eBay sellers, please.
We thought about that.
We talked about that. And I think because this whole YouTube thing started because we both have a teacher's heart. He's not just Prof Sales because it's a cute to him sounding name, but you were a professor, so you like to teach, you like to give back.
I like teaching.
And we've talked about, figuring out a way where people can come here and we can show. Because it's one thing to talk to you and say, well, just hold your phone like this instead and push the button like that, and then it'll all take care of itself, as opposed to having people come. And we've talked about doing a meetup where maybe we bring people in, and maybe even the tricky part, we got to talking about, I kind of threw out the idea that would there be value, or not even so much concentrating, we joked about monetizing it as well, but could people come in here and use our equipment, because they can't afford it?
Right.
We wouldn't,
or they just don't want, right. They're
right. Or they want to try it out or whatever. And we might still do that on a limited basis.
Yeah.
But we see value in being able to show people, it's one thing to show you, well, the umbrella lights work this way and you can either face them this way or that way. But I'm totally open to actually having people come and showing them. And we've talked about the next time we do a meetup here in Charlotte, having that maybe as an option or something like that. Because we definitely want to show people, because I get frustrated right along with the new resellers that get started and then they quit because something goes wrong or it doesn't go like they thought it should go, or so we're all about helping fine-tune people's processes. And definitely we joke a lot about how we're the guinea pigs here and we'll make the mistakes.
True.
We'll make the mistakes for you. But I mean that, because you don't learn but without making mistakes. And to make a rugby reference, I was a carpool mom from the game, which we won again, by the way, 2-0. But for whatever reason, my own child. Yeah, I did. No, I didn't. But I took some really good pictures as usual. But for whatever reason, my own child did not ride with me. But the fellas that did, I let them be quiet on the way up. But on the way back, I said, okay, we just can't, have silence on the way home. And we talked. And these young men, it was so cool because one of them was frustrated that he felt like he just didn't do well. And he's ninth grade. The other fella sitting next to me was 11th grade, had been playing for a couple of years. And we had this dialogue about, and it made me think of reselling as well, but you don't grow, you don't get better unless you make mistakes. And, I think in the moment, it's easy in hindsight to say, oh, it's okay, it'll be okay. But in the moment, we're feeling defeated. We're feeling like it's the end of the world. We'll never get better. Why don't we just quit? But I'm here to tell you that that's how you get better. That's how you learn, is you have to make a mistake.
Sure.
So in the moment, don't let that discourage you or even let the thought enter your brain that you need to quit. You don't even entertain the idea of quitting something unless you've exhausted every effort. Did you cross your T's and dot your I's? Did you do this? There's so many things you can do to make it better and to learn and grow and prosper in your business. So
absolutely. And, realizing too that this is going to continue to evolve. Reselling is going to evolve. eBay is going to evolve. Amazon's going to evolve, and you're going to have to evolve. I mean, that's just part of the game. The person we were visiting with this weekend said, Amazon makes a bunch of decisions I don't like, but without them, I'm out of business. So, and it all ends. It would all end. He could do something different, but he would have to, get rid of his space, get rid of his employees, scale way down, change his lifestyle. Everything would change. Mm-hmm. Not that he couldn't do it, but he likes what's built there. And he said, because of that, I play by Amazon's rules. And even though I don't like everything they do, I have to acquiesce if I want to continue to sell on their platform.
And that's an interesting thought for some folks, because every time eBay makes a change, the reaction is instantly, eBay's out to get me. I'm going to sell my stuff somewhere else. And this fella, 7 figures, no joke, serious reseller, right? Is oh, it's their rules. I play by their rules. It's their game. And I'm all right with that. So, that's something to think about. It's really easy to, in the moment, react and be oh, they're out to get me. But it's a choice we make. We choose to sell on eBay. We choose to sell on Etsy, Poshmark, whatever. Right? It's
a choice. And, in choosing to sell on those, you choose to play by their rules.
I just love the perspective. I just love the perspective. We had the same conversations that we've had,
But somebody mentioned this earlier, and I do think that one of the things we're going to look to do, especially with this consignment business, but maybe in overall, is to be able to sell on our own site. Maybe it's Shopify, maybe it's a website. I don't know. But the reality is you could lose your selling ability on one of those platforms. And if you're kind of all in just for one of them, that can be a little risky. It's like owning one restaurant. Mm-hmm. You own one restaurant in one location. Even if it's super, super profitable, what happens when the local huge business in that said town goes out of business and everybody gets laid off or has to quit their job, gets fired? Now your business is going to drop to zero. So you've put all your eggs in that one basket. And that's why, sort of building out this diverse set of revenue streams, this diverse business makes sense, because if something goes bad in one area, it doesn't kill you. You can adapt and change in other areas too. So I think it's always wise to sort of expand your horizons with all this, just for all those reasons.
Right. And true story, we were not going to go this long today.
Nope, we're not.
And it's pushing exactly an hour. So I'm going to just kind of say it's time.
We're going to have to leave you guys.
We're going to have to go get back to the work that
we got 150 more shoes to do.
And then whatever the odds and ends are too. Our commitment was to check everything in today so that we could start listing tomorrow. And actually we can do some of it at home once we have the master list, but we've got to get on this. So not to be the party pooper, but we need to go. So it was awesome to see you guys. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing, hitting that alarm button so it'll let you know and remind you when we do go live or have shows or post things to new playlists. And arg, mateys, consider the like button, because we do this because we want to help you guys make it better for you, and always upward, always better, right?
We'll see you guys in a couple days.
As always, this is Just Ask Kaaren.
Prop Sales.
Saying good sales.